he actually is kind of getting into character. You know, I mean, in order for him to fight, he has to be able to hate the person and to be able to fight and do what he loves. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. At the end, he gives nothing but respect. It's just a weird kind of dynamic, but it works for him. Everybody's different, and I think you got to understand that. When people look behind the camera, look behind the scenes, Nick Diaz is actually a really good guy.
I like Nick Diaz. He can smack talk and you can hear what he's saying. Nick Diaz once, he was fighting Robbie Lawler, and Robbie Lawler was a huge favorite going to this fight. Robbie Lawler was knocking people out. He's a beast, you know. Still to this day, he's a beast. So Nick Diaz gets into the cage and just starts going, "Stockton, motherfucker, Stockton." He's like talking 209 and Stockton, and he's pacing back and forth. He goes, "Stockton, motherfucker," and he was dead serious. When he fights guys, he calls them bitch all the time. "What bitch? What bitch? You want this bitch?" Pow! Like he'll hit guys and talk shit to him. He was talking shit to Robbie Lawler the whole time they fought. He was talking shit to him, and Robbie Lawler didn't talk shit back. I thought he would, you know. But I think that guy really flusters a lot of people with his shit talking. You know, like when he was fighting Frank Shamrock said it best. He was like, I can't, like he was doing it, and he can't believe he's doing it while he's doing it. Like, is this guy really talking this much shit to me?
I think Nick's just, you know, and for me, Nick's a great guy, and I think he's just a little misunderstood. I think I think in a lot of relationships, you know, some people have better communication skills than others, and I think he just, you know, prefers to fight, and that's all he wants to do is just fight. He doesn't need to talk to anybody else. He's not in the promotion business. He's in the fight business.
He's a huge name. A return of Nick Diaz would be when Nick Diaz flirted a return, it was huge. I will get a huge response for making a video talking about his return. I mean, some things don't lie. Numbers are one of them. My YouTube page is not only audited, it's publicly audited. And you will see how many people are going to click on this because the title says Nick Diaz in it. In all fairness, his return is going to be huge. So if we can concede to that, which we're forced to, then we know he's coming back into a main event spot. Do you want to take a guy who's been on the shelf for 5 years and put him in a 5-round fight? If you come to the conclusion that you do, who are you going to put him with?
You know, he's just a different breed. You know, he's got a chip on his shoulder. I respect that. You know, I think that he comes to fight. I really truly believe that he really doesn't care about the money. And the guy just likes to fight. And that's pretty cool. I like that.
He's a fascinating cat, man, because he does fucking triathlons. Like, he's really into doing like high endurance shit. And he gets super baked and then rides his bike and swims and runs. His endurance is ridiculous. He's got like Ironman triathlon endurance. That's why, one of the reasons why he fucks guys up. He just puts a pace on them that they can't keep up with him. Yeah. It's just like he's running with them. He just makes them run at his pace, and then before you know it, they're wilting, and he's beating the fuck out of them. You know, he does that to everybody, man. He did it to Paul Daly, and he puts himself in danger to land shots. And he does some stuff that is just really atypical of guys trying to play it safe and guys that are like champions. Like, a lot of times guys get to a certain point and they fight to win, but when they can win and coast and not put themselves in danger, they will sometimes, you know. GSP does that. Nick Diaz does not do that. Now, listen to me. When Nick Diaz just fought his last fight, he fought a serious fucking dangerous striker, this guy Paul Daly. And Paul Daly does not have a good jiu-jitsu game. Paul Daly, his defense is okay, it's pretty good, but his stand-up is wicked. Nick Diaz went after him only with stand-up. Didn't even try to submit him. Didn't try to take him down. Just banged it out with him and dragged him into deep water and then knocked him out. And it was incredible. And it was in the way he did it was a way that George would never do it. He threw himself into the fire. He even got clipped and knocked down. He's not supposed to be like striking with this guy. This guy's like one of the best strikers in the sport. And he struck with him. He hung in there with him and he beat him down. And he's a beast, man. You cannot count out Nick Diaz.
I don't think that he's crazy. He's just, you know, not the same as everyone else, I guess. I mean, he's a little bit different, but, you know, we all are in some respect. You know, especially in this sport, you got to be a little different than the average human being.
I think he's crazy. I mean, he's a different guy, of course, obviously, but no, I don't think he's crazy.
No, he's not crazy at all. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and he's been more respectful to me than any other martial artist I've ever met in my life. You know, when I was doing judo, I was the only American medaling in the Worlds and the Olympics. I never had a single teammate or another judoka ask me for advice or ask me how to do anything. And even with all these other MMA fighters, they're so polite and very, very cool, but I've never had any of them be like, hey, look, what are you doing today? I need to train with you. I want to learn something from you. And, you know, he is not the type to sit around and compliment you for, flaunt your ego or whatever, anything like that. But his actions speak to, I think he's an amazing person, and I really hope I have more opportunities to train with him in the future.
The best performance I think anyone has ever had against BJ. No one has ever looked that good against BJ. Jesus fucking Christ, what a fight, holy shit. Nick Diaz looked good, man. God damn, he looked good. I mean, he just boxed him up, standing up, man. Just boxed him up. And the pace that Nick Diaz makes you run with him. He makes you run at his pace, you know, and his endurance is just on some wicked level, man. And he forces this pace and fights guys, you know, using sharp boxing where he doesn't hit you with full blast shots. You know, like he sort of 50% to you, 50% to you, up until like the second and third round. Then he starts digging those hooks to the body, and he's so effective, man. He's so effective.
You have a guy who's removed himself from the sport for 5 years, who came back and documented himself getting back into shape, flirted the idea that he might even return at 155 pounds, his last fight being at 185 pounds, his perennial weight class being 170 pounds, and there's no contract signed, there's no return, and there's nothing imminent. I mean, as much as we want to say we're not sure, how long do we live in the purgatory of not being sure? With what clue could we be presented so that we are sure? I mean, how many more clues do we need before we come to the finality of a decision that he's not coming back? And it makes for a tough thing too. Where do you come back at?
He's actually very intelligent. I believe he's got a problem with his social skills, but I think he's a very smart guy, and I think he wants people to think he's crazy because he used the intimidation factor on his opponent, which is something that, you know, it's not gonna work on me.